Welcome to Behind the Muscle podcast. Today's guest is an IFBB pro bodybuilder. Today's guest is Seth I. Seth, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Q, thanks for having me.
For sure, Seth. So we're just going to jump into a couple questions I like to ask all my guests, and then we're just going to chop it up in regards to some bodybuilding talk. So the first question that I have for you is, who are a few of your favorite bodybuilders of all time?
My favorite bodybuilders are going to have to be Jay Cutler, because I think he's like one of the best ambassadors for the sport, and he was number 1 or 2 in the world for like a decade. So I'm going to have to go with Jay Cutler. Is going to be my all-time favorite. Another favorite physique of mine would have to be Kevin Larone, and another one would be Dennis Wolf.
Excellent, man. Why Kevin Larone?
I don't know, man. He has that side chest, that tricep pose is just nasty, and I wish that my triceps just hung like that. I just think that's like one of the best physiques out there.
Very cool. All right. So at what age, Seth, did you start lifting weights, and then why did you start lifting weights at that age?
So we always, when I played sports in school and stuff, we lifted, but it wasn't anything serious. There wasn't really any programming behind it, and I really didn't understand. We went in and we did like the same workout like 3 times a week for 2-a-days for football, and nothing was really, they didn't really push you to do anything. It was just kind of, you went in there, they said, hey, do bench press and do this jammer press and do lunges, and so we just did that. But stuff started getting a little bit more serious for me in like 2008. Once I came back from basic training in the Air Force, and I started training with my childhood friend down the street named Kevin, and he was into natural bodybuilding and stuff. So here he had some sort of background from his dad teaching him how to lift weights. And so he kind of took me to the gym and stuff. So we started doing that. We started reading the magazines, and I followed a lot of Lane Norton and Mark Lobliner and stuff like that, and doing the workouts in the magazines. And that's how it all got started in 2008.
All right, cool. Now, we're going to kind of skip over some of the childhood stuff, but you just mentioned basic training, and on your IG bio, you say, veteran of the United States Air Force. So how did you kind of come to that point of enlisting in the Air Force? And then what was that experience like for you, Seth?
So when I was in high school, my family was pushing me to do that because they really know what I wanted to do after high school. So I actually enlisted when I was still in high school, and I had a couple drill weekends before I graduated. Then I went on to basic training, and then I decided, well, I'm going to try to go to school and use the GI Bill because it was free. They give you, money for your books, and you get payment and stuff. So I went to a community college there in my hometown. And then I was like, oh, I don't think this is for me. And then so I ended up getting a full-time state position with the Rickenbacker Air National Guard in Ohio, like 2 years after I enlisted. So I was like 19 or 20, and I had a full-time job. So I kind of missed my whole 20s of like doing everything. I was like, already had a house by 21. I was getting ready to get married. I had 2 cars. Yeah, I just kind of skipped the whole, trying to figure stuff out because I had a full-time job right off the rip. So
very cool. Now, did that set you up well, or do you feel like, kind of having everything at a young age because you earned it and you worked for it? Do you feel like that set you back a little bit in life, or do you think that's really set you up great?
I think it set me up better because I started, I had like a retirement stuff going on. I had my IRA and stuff set up, or it's called a thrift savings plan with the military. I had that set up, at 20 years old. So I was already putting 15% of my money and stuff like that at such a young age. And I had good people, teach me how to do all these things. But I'm starting to realize now that, like, since I had a full-time job so early and I competed in bodybuilding from when I was 21, I missed my entire 20s. So like, I didn't go on vacations. I didn't do anything. Like, I didn't party. I didn't do anything. And now I'm like, well, was it worth it? Because now I'm 32. I didn't do anything. Like, I just went to my first music festival yesterday. I went to my first professional football game a couple weeks ago. Like, I didn't do anything besides work and bodybuilding for the past 11 years. So I'm kind of like, I want to kind of do some of those things I should have done in my early 20s, but I am grateful because now, I'm set up more financially than what I would have been if I like did it a different way. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Now, I know we're not going to touch on childhood a whole lot, but you did say Ohio, and I saw on your Instagram that you on one of your posts you said you're from a small town in Ohio. I'm from a small town in Iowa. I do just want to ask you, nothing really personal, but in terms of just coming from a small town in the Midwest, it's a different mentality, right? I know you're out in Vegas now. That's a whole different ball game. Do you feel like you really appreciated growing up in that small community in the Midwest, or do you wish you kind of grew up in a bigger city? And then what was maybe some of the positives, negatives of the small town life?
I felt like since I moved out to here, like I was really sheltered. Like I didn't really realize like everything that like goes on out here. Because when I moved out here, I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? Like small town, we didn't even have a movie theater or anything. Like our biggest attraction was Walmart, and we got that when I was in high school. So we didn't really do much. You know, a lot of my friends, they got into drinking and stuff like that. I didn't really do that, or drugs or anything. So I mean, I've already lost like people I went to school with from drugs and stuff like that. So I'm happy that I got out, because there's really not much opportunity for somebody that lives in a small town like that, besides working at the mall, or, you know, you have to drive an hour away to work somewhere. So I'm happy that I got out and I got to experience a little bit more stuff.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, let's so 2008, you kind of got into bodybuilding. What was kind of like your introduction to bodybuilding? Did you check out the magazines when you're younger? How did you kind of get into bodybuilding, and then how did you kind of get pulled in? You said, I think you competed when you were 21. So why don't we just talk about those early days of bodybuilding for you, Seth?
So the first thing I've ever seen about bodybuilding, I remember my dad was watching like the Arnold Classic on ESPN, and I saw this guy named Flex Wheeler, and I was like, oh wow, this guy looks crazy. But then I never really thought about it much anymore, because that was like then, and then they kind of got away from putting that on TV. So I never was into bodybuilding until my friend Kevin, like I said, started training with me in 2008, and we were friends since like the third grade, and he lived down the street from me. So we started training in 2008. There was a bodybuilding show in Columbus in February of 2009. The guy that ran it was actually my first trainer. His name was Rich Loro. He owns a gym called Beyond Limits Training. And we went and watched that. And he was like, hey, I think you should do a bodybuilding show. And I was like, all right. So the following year, I ended up doing the Cardinal Classic in Youngstown, Ohio, as in the INBF. And I won the heavyweight novice class. I think there was only like 8 guys or something in it. And then I ended up doing another show, the Dave Lieberman show. It was like a week or so later. I got like 10th out of 18. That was more like you could take pro hormones and stuff then in those organizations. And then I did another show. Nick Showman had a show called like the Ohio Natural Bodybuilding Federation. I did like a couple classes there. And then it just kind of took off. I was like, oh, well, obviously must be good at this if I'm winning. So 2011, I didn't compete. I just started trying to get bigger. And the next year, 2012, I ended up winning my class a couple times, a couple different shows. And then we just kept going. So I think I've done like 9 shows. There's 9 or 10 shows.
Cool. When did you start competing then, at like the national level in the NPC?
So after 2014, or 2013, I did the Ohio. 2014, I did the Ohio and a Michigan show. And 2015, I took off. I started working with Phil Viz. He lives out in like New Jersey. We did the Junior USA. I took 2nd in the super heavyweight class. And then in 2017, I did my first national qualifier, which was the North Americans, and I won the overall there.
Awesome, man. So at what point then, Seth, kind of like within your bodybuilding experience, did you kind of say, hey, this is what I want to do with my life? I mean, because there's kind of a point for all of us where it's like, okay, we're lifting weights, we're enjoying it, but then it's like, okay, I'm going all in with this. At what age, at what point was that for you?
I think is when I was in the military, after I did the 2016 show at the Junior USA, is when I placed 2nd. I was like, I really don't want to work for anybody anymore. I want to try to pursue personal training and stuff and go full-time bodybuilding. And so it was right after that, I had 7 years of state employee service. So I get like some sort of pension years down the road. Who knows how much that's going to be. But yeah, in 2016, I decided that I was just going to do full-time bodybuilding and work for myself.
Excellent. Now, is Phil Viz, is that the coach that kind of coached you through the entirety of your NPC amateur career or not?
No, I worked with another guy in 2013 and 14, and then I had like a little falling out with him. And then I was trying to find different coaches. So I reached out to Phil, that David Calick, Fockery, and another guy, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but Phil was the only one that responded back pretty fast and was a reasonable price that I was comfortable paying with. And so I started working with him for like 2 years, and then I ended up parting ways with him. And I worked with Matt Jansen. He helped me win my pro card, and then I've had a couple different coaches since then.
What do you think? And this is not necessarily for myself, but for some of maybe the younger listeners out there. When you're looking for a coach, right? There's a lot of different philosophies with that, and a lot of my guests have different philosophies and have shared that. But for you, when you're looking for a coach, or if you're going to speak to maybe a younger bodybuilder or somebody that's thinking about hiring a coach, what are a couple suggestions that you would give those listeners when they're looking for a coach, when they're on Instagram? How do you kind of find the right fit for you?
I guess it just depends on the part of my career. Like for now, I feel like I need somebody that has worked with larger people so they know how to feed them properly. As to was before, I feel like a lot of people like, oh, they have a big Instagram following, I'm going to work with them because they're cheap and blah, 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 blah. Well, cheap isn't always the best. As you know, you buy something cheap at the store and it breaks. You know, if you spend a little bit more money on something, it's going to last a little longer. So you can look at, you know, what have they built a physique actually for themselves? Have they taken people that look similar to you and built a good physique, and do they come in shape? I'm not big on the whole PE pushing tons of PEDs. So, you know, maybe you should reach out to people that they worked with before and see like how aggressive they are with, you know, the drugs and stuff like that. So those are some things to look for. I wouldn't just pick somebody based on popularity on Instagram. You just look at their transformations and make sure they're actually real, you know?
For sure. For sure. In regards to, this is a question that, or this is kind of a topic that's kind of popular right now, but, you know, we have a lot of people in terms of when they start using the PEDs, the drugs and stuff. I hear a lot of people talking about, like, especially the younger generation, it's like drugs first and then everything else, right? From your perspective, like put in order, like the training, the nutrition, drugs, you know, recovery, like from your perspective, from your opinion, Seth, what is the order of importance in terms of bodybuilding with those categories?
So I get a lot of questions when I go live and stuff on TikTok, and all the kids want to ask about the drugs. Well, how much of this should I take? What should this I take? And I keep trying to explain to them, it's not about the drugs. Like if you're building a cake, if you're making a cake, the drugs are the icing that goes on the cake. Yeah, it's cool. It tastes good, but like, you don't have a cake without all those other things you're talking about. So, I mean, I competed in so many natural bodybuilding shows, and I didn't even think about want to do anything like that. You know what I mean? But I know if I want to be the best and move up a level, I have to do things like that to get to where I want to be. So yeah, the training, the cardio, all that stuff's very important. And speaking about cardio, a lot of people try to pull it out in their off season, but it's very helpful for your heart, for your appetite, conditioning, and everything to keep the cardio in. So I always try to tell people to keep the cardio in, focus on the training and the nutrition, and worry about the drugs later. Everybody's so consumed with how much drugs to take, and it's just, I don't like the way it's heading in that direction, like at all.
For sure, for sure. What's kind of the training philosophy for you? Not necessarily maybe for your clients or, you know, people just kind of gen pop, but, you know, kind of for yourself, what's that training philosophy and what do you recommend to people?
I train at a high intensity and low volume, so I don't do tons and tons of sets. The best I ever looked was when I worked out 3 or 4 days a week. I know a lot of people try to argue with me and say they need to do volume, but I know what science says, and I know that high intensity, low volume builds the most amount of muscle mass along with cardiovascular training. So, and also my buddy John Clayton, he's my best friend. He also helps me with my training, incorporates joint training in there. So it's like a combination between training your range of motion, doing cardiovascular training, and weightlifting as well. So we kind of put everything together, and actually he's doing a seminar on that here pretty soon. I think out here in Vegas in November. He developed this whole course over the course of like a year, putting together all three of those things. And I think it's going to be something really special because no one's ever really incorporated joint training, cardiovascular training, and external based training all in the same program.
What is the, just in simple terms, what is the joint training?
So like training joint range of motion. So Dr. Andre Spina, they do these things. They're called progressive angular isometrical loading. So they're called pails and rails. So it's like putting force into a joint to create more workspace, because the more workspace that you have, the more opportunities you can train more things. So if you can't move there, you can't train there. Does that make sense? So the whole progressive overload thing of you need to train a progressive linear fashion, that's not true. Your body is a dynamic system. So you can only go up in weight, say the bench press, you can only go up on weight for so many weeks before accommodation sets in, and you have to switch exercises or you start to go backwards. So that's what we're trying to do. So it's a whole thing. And I try to explain to people, they don't understand what the heck I'm talking about.
No, that's cool. And the gentleman that's putting on the seminar that helps you with your training, do you know what his IG is so the listeners can go follow him?
It's J Quint NMT, and then you can follow Functional Range Conditioning and Dr. Andre Spina.
Cool.
Functional Range Systems is their Instagram. All
right, awesome, man. So when was your pro debut, and then what is kind of like your contest history for pro competition look like, Seth?
So my pro debut was in 2018 in Chicago. I got like 9th out of 18. I keep messing up these peaks these last 2 days. I always look fine, and then if something goes wrong. 2020 I didn't, or 2019 I didn't compete. 2020 I did. What did I do? The Tampa. And I lost way too much weight. And then because they kept pushing the shows back because of COVID. And so I started dieting in December. I was supposed to compete in May, and then I ended up not competing until August. So I dieted the whole time. I went from like 290 to down to like 250. And then I diuretic myself down to 243, which was horrible look. I got like second to last place there. And then I did the Chicago this year. I looked fine. And then I messed up diuretics again, and I looked horrible. It looked like I didn't even diet my whole lower body, when the week before, 3 days before, I looked fine. So note to self, quit taking so much diuretics.
That's kind of my thought in my head. Yeah.
3 times in a row. We got to try something different.
Yeah. Are you, have you been prepping yourself, or have you been working with somebody through these last?
I work with different people, but like, if we're not on the same page and I don't agree with some of the stuff they're saying, I can't trust it. You know, they tell me to do this, and I'm like, bro, that doesn't make any sense at all. And then I'm like, why is your reasoning? Well, so-and-so said that this works. And I'm like, well, I don't really care what so-and-so said, bro. That doesn't make any sense. So if I lose trust in somebody, then I'm not going to be able to follow what they're telling me to do. You know what I mean?
For sure. What are your plans for 2022 then?
I have no idea yet. I just know I need to get bigger. I was talking with Jay Cutler, and he's like, you need to weigh 350, bro. I'm like, bro, I'm going to die if I weigh 350. Maybe let's just hold 310 for a while. How about that? Because that'd be a pretty solid goal. I'm like 290 something right now. I'm just having a hard time getting food in. So I'm trying the best I can to eat the food every day. But when you eat the same foods for years and years and years, you just get kind of sick of it. So I'm trying to find different things to eat. Sometimes I'll do, shakes with carb powder in it just to try to get calories in. So I feel like once I can get this food down every single day, I'll start to grow a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I'm maintaining 290 something on, not that much food.
You, because you've been eating, as a bodybuilder for so many years, I know this is something that can come up. Have you experienced, or do you have any like digestive issues? And if so, how do you kind of work through that stuff?
I don't think I have digestive issues. I think my problem is drinking a lot. I don't really drink much water. I need to get a lot better at trying to drink a lot more water. I don't really take I take a little bit of vitamins, but I don't take tons of vitamins. I just think I just need different seasonings or like different ways to prepare the food. I think I'll be able to eat it a lot easier, because during prep I was using the chicken pound, and that made it way easier because it's already cooked, it's already seasoned. All I have to do is just throw it on the pan and heat it back up, and I'm good to go. So that was convenient. So I might have to go back to that. Sometimes I just get lazy, but I got to figure out a way to get that food in.
I'm sure you probably heard of him, but are you familiar with Stan Efferding?
Yeah, he actually lives in Vegas. I've never
Yeah.
met him before though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because he's out there in Vegas, super unbelievably knowledgeable guy, IFBB pro and
Yeah,
record holder in powerlifting. I know he's got the vertical diet.
right.
I actually ordered the book and everything. I would at least Google Stan and vertical diet and just look into kind of what that is, and maybe even reach out to him. I'm sure he would love to connect with you, but
Sure.
that's just I know he's worked with a lot of strong men, a lot of UFC guys in terms of just eating, but he works with guys that need to eat a lot, and that vertical diet is set up so that you can get that food down. It does taste good, and it's something that is sustainable. So just a
Okay.
suggestion. I'm a nobody, but
Yeah, I'll definitely look into it. I actually have a friend that used to train with him, so I can reach out to him to see if he can make the introduction or something. That'd be
yeah,
cool.
yeah. I just know Stan is a wealth of knowledge, not only in terms of fitness, but also business, and he's right out there in Vegas. So speaking of Vegas, why did you move out there? I know you're training yourself, you're training people at the Dragon's Lair. So why don't you talk about that move and what that experience is like being in the new Mecca, as they're calling it?
Yeah, it's a lot better. There's definitely way more opportunity out here than when I was in Ohio. I just kind of felt like I was marinating and I wasn't really getting any traction to do anything. And then I move out here and it was like it's a whole new world, as Aladdin would say, you know. So it's great. I just think this is where I need to be for now. I don't know if it's going to be forever, but for now I know this is where I need to be the most successful, because I met a lot of good people that can help me in many different ways. So I'm really happy to be here.
Is it pretty cool, man? Like to see Jay Cutler walk through and like
Yeah,
have
I think
Wes Lewis, man.
it's crazy because like you look up to these guys, when you start working out and stuff, then they call you Big Slank, like they call you your nickname from when you were a kid. And I'm just like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? So it's awesome to see Flex and Jay and Dennis Wolf, like, and all those guys that they didn't all know my name and stuff. I just think that's pretty neat.
Yeah, for sure, man. Have you do you just kind of train at the Dragon's Lair, or have you checked out some of the other gyms around there in Vegas?
So when I first moved, I got the LVAC membership, and then I went over to Fit Club for a bit. And then when Dragon's Lair opened, I've been training over there since March. And then this past week, I actually got a membership back at Fit Club, and I went and worked out there 3 times this week. Sometimes I just need a little bit change of scenery and just to see some new faces and stuff, so I don't get too bored. But yeah, I'll always be training at the Dragon's Lair for sure.
Cool. Have you had any like mentors or anybody that you feel like has been a big impact in your life, Seth? Maybe bodybuilding wise, or maybe just in life, or not really?
Since I moved here, I mean, Jay Cutler's put a lot of stuff in my ear about, that's why I started the whole the supplement line. I started getting the jerseys and stuff. Just and watching, videos and stuff online of him. He's like someone that's been a really big motivator in my life, even though I've never had that conversation with him. But yeah, he's meant a lot to me, just like watching the stuff.
Talk about the supplement company then. What's that all about?
Yeah, so I started this company. It's just called Slankamania. Huge and cute, just like the jerseys. I got jerseys and hats and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, so I kept getting these offers from people online from Steel and all these places, and they want to sponsor me, but they don't want to give me any money. And I'm like, listen, guys, like I'm not gonna support your stuff if you're not going to give me any money. And this kept going on for years and years. And when I talked to Jay, he's like, why don't you just do your own thing? He's like, then you can make all the money and you don't have to worry about it. And I'm thinking, well, you're right. If these people think I can sell their stuff and I'm only going to get, supplements in return, I might as well just sell the stuff and get all the money. So I linked up with a guy named Braden. He owns Dynamic Evolution, and he's helped me develop some of these products and help ship for me and everything. So he's been a really big help to me. And we have 2 pump products that are coming out. I have the one product that I got back in July, made from All American Pharmaceutical. And then we also have a test booster. He's developing me a high stem. We're gonna have a protein powder, etc. So I'm really excited about the next few months with everything with that.
Are any of those supplements out, or is the launch date in the future?
So I actually have, I'll show you this one. So I have this pre-workout. This is the original pre-workout here. This is like a very low stem with pump ingredients. And then the other one actually had the first one shipped, the grape flavor, the stem free pump was shipped yesterday. So a couple people that pre-ordered that will be getting that. So the grape flavor is already made, where the blue cotton candy flavor is coming. The test booster will be out this week. And then we're developing the high stem, so that'll probably just take a few weeks to get processed and stuff once I do the flavoring.
And where can the listeners go to find out more about the supplements, Seth?
Slankamania.com has all the apparel and the supplement brand.
All right. Okay. So the Slank thing, what is this all about, man? Because I see it on your IG and I'm like, this is definitely a question I've got to ask Seth. So what is that?
So I was really tall and skinny when I was in school, and I was like 14 years old, and I was at my brother's baseball game. And one of his teammates is named Joey. His grandpa was in the dugout, and I don't know, I must have said something, and he just tried to make fun of me by calling me slinky looking. And so people just started calling me Slank to try to make fun of me. And I was like, well, bro, that's not a bad name. So I just started rolling with it. And then they just started calling me Big Slank when I was like a junior in high school. And then it's just been Big Slank ever since. Like people from school still call me that. So I just think it's hilarious.
You've just taken it. Now you've got it on supplements and just running with it, huh, man?
I just run with it since I was 14. So that's been a long time.
Yeah, no, that's cool, dude. That's cool. What are a couple of your gym pet peeves, Seth? Got any?
When people smell bad. I'm like, come on, bro. Yeah, that I think it's just that. I mean, most people re-rack their weights. I don't really find that to be a big issue like at Dragon's Lair or anything. I think that's a pretty well-known thing by, constant gym goers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just people that smell bad.
That's a good one.
We're gonna go with that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. In regards to like your future, pursuits within bodybuilding, do you have any like long-term goals? I know a lot of my guests that are IFBB pros, they say, well, obviously if you're IFBB pro, the ultimate goal is to step on the Olympia stage. And I think for a lot of people it is, not everybody though. What's your long-term goal if you have one in terms of being an IFBB pro?
I want to beat Sergio Oliva Jr. at the Arnold Classic.
Ooh, I like it, man. All
Yeah,
right.
that's
Cool.
the goal.
All right. Would you love to be on the Olympia stage at some point as well?
Yeah, I think to me more would be win the Arnold Classic because I'm from Ohio. There's only been one other guy from Ohio, Mike Francois, which I know. He used to help me a little bit for back training a couple years ago. And I think that'd be really cool to go back there and win that.
For sure. Why do you want to beat Sergio? You guys got some beef or something or what?
No, I just like to give him a hard time. He likes to give me a hard time too. So he pushes me more than he knows. So every time I train, I think about him. So
Cool.
I just want to beat him.
Yeah. How tall are you, Seth?
6'2".
Okay. Do you have any advice for some of the taller listeners that are into bodybuilding, just to kind of maybe, put on that muscle? I know usually legs are something that taller guys struggle with. Anything else that you'd like to share in terms of like training to put on that size?
I mean, for taller people, yeah, I mean, you're definitely going to have to, it's going to take a long time to fill out your frames, especially people that are my height or even taller. So you can be 270 and be 6'6" and look skinny. You know what I mean? Just because you're so tall. So just got to be patient, make sure you're eating and training consistently and try to fill up the frame the best you can, but don't do it too fast with all the drugs. Just take your time. You
Yeah,
want to be like Dexter. You don't want to be like these guys that are dying in their 20s. You know what I mean?
for sure. No, for sure. What's something that you can share with the listeners in regards to I don't want to say like building a brand, but like if you're a personal trainer, how can you kind of like build your clientele? What's the best way to do that? How can you build, I guess, maybe a brand or build a business through fitness, through bodybuilding? Any suggestions?
Just be yourself and show your personality and try to help people and not focus on money so much. I mean, obviously you got to make money to live, but help people out when you can, give them a deal. If they're really passionate and they can't really afford to work with you, try, give people a chance to try to, help reach their goals.
Yeah, for sure. So in regards to working with people, let's just say it's more of a Gen Pop setting. Do you train people that just like Gen Pop, or is it more athletes?
Mostly the people I train are just regular people that want to lose weight or gain muscle. I have a few bodybuilders, but I prefer just to train normal average Joes that want to, just lose weight or build muscle. I'm really good at like taking somebody that's, a little overweight, dieting them down and then recomping them back up. That's something I'm really good at doing.
So how do you, with those Gen Pop people, how do you kind of connect with them? How do you build that rapport? How do you build that relationship when they come to you? And what does it look like when you in-doc them or intake them when they start working with you?
So I have them fill out like a questionnaire and tell me what their goals are, tell me what they're eating, their cardio, what type, like, et cetera. So I have them fill out all this stuff. Then I'll build a program for that. And then I have everybody check in with me 2 times a week. And then based on their pictures and their feedback and stuff, I'll know if I need to change anything or if I just keep stuff the same.
Cool. Do you always just keep it simple, Seth?
I keep it simple, man. I don't try to do anything crazy. I don't try to force people to eat something they don't want to eat, like, because I know I wouldn't want to do, I wouldn't want to do that. So everything's just basic and simple. I don't try to do any magic tricks and you got to do this at this time and this at this time. I'm like, you don't need to do any of that, man. If Dorian Yates didn't do it, I don't need to do it, is the way I think about it.
I love it, man. There you go, dude. And you know what? That's some truth right there, man. Because I think in the fitness industry, we've got people that like to just put on this show and say, hey, you've got to do this and that. And if you keep it simple, man, it's going to be effective if you have that consistency. So, did you ever, being from Ohio, did you ever connect with John Meadows or not?
Yeah, we did a couple workouts together for his YouTube channel. I think we did like maybe 3 workouts or something. It's funny, he actually went to the same high school I did, obviously not at the same time, but we went to the same high school.
Cool. That's cool. What are you within the fitness industry or within bodybuilding? What are some things that I don't want to call them pet peeves, but maybe that you would like to see change, or you would maybe like to share with the listeners in terms of like, hey, be cautious about these things?
Like I touched on before, the drugs, quit putting a big focus on the drugs. And I want open bodybuilding to come back to where it was and not just mass monster freaks, come back to more shapely, pleasing physiques. And honestly, I think they should get rid of classic physique and make everybody get huge and do bodybuilding. And quit worshiping C-Bump so much. These kids online think he's like the Mr. Olympia. I'm like, guys, he looks good, but I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not to knock him, but I mean, think if he gained 15, 20 pounds, how crazy would he look?
Well, dude, I keep hearing quote unquote experts that I listen to say that they think he could step into open men's bodybuilding right now and win some of the lower level shows. I mean, what do you think about that? Do you think that's factual or not?
No, because if he only weighs 225 or 230, I mean, he's like what, 6 foot tall, 6'1". I mean, I competed, at the Junior USA at 235. I mean, I have a small waist too. I mean, I don't really see him beating a lot of people, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be mean, but I mean, he's really not that big in comparison to the open men.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we're just
I don't want to say, I'm not saying try to talk crap about him, but I mean, is he going to beat Sergio? No. Is he going to beat Regan? No. You know what I mean? I mean, Regan's only won those shows that overseas. Like he hasn't won the Chicago or, you know, or New York or anything like that. He's not beating Nick Walker or Hunter or any of these guys. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I don't really see him placing the top 6 at a, you know what I mean? So
What do you think about Big Rami's physique?
He looked good. Something weird with his legs at the show. I don't know. This looks strange to me on the TV. I don't know what they look like in person. I thought Brandon looked really good and Hottie looked pretty good. I would like to see Hottie win an Olympia because I think he deserves it because he looks amazing.
Yeah, for sure. After bodybuilding is done in terms of competing, what are you hoping to accomplish? What are you hoping to pursue when those days are done or over?
So I actually started getting into real estate investing, and I got one property 2 months ago, and I'll be getting another property here in a few more months. And so I'm funneling all my money into real estate investing because that's what I want to have that cash flow every month. So
Jay Cutler, man, right?
That's my plan. Yeah, I think he used to do that. I don't know how much he does anymore, but yeah, that's my plan, is to do just all real estate stuff. I linked up with a pretty good dude named Trevor. I met him a couple months ago. He helped me get my first condo, and we've got a little portfolio and plan we're trying to put together on my future and stuff. So I'm really excited for that.
Awesome, man. All right, we're gonna wrap it up, Seth. If somebody's gonna come out to Vegas, where is the place for them to check out in terms of not a gym, but just maybe sightseeing or just a fun place to chill?
I don't really go on hikes.
Get a hold of you, right, Seth? Huh?
Yeah, you can get a hold of me. I'll
Big
be at the
Slank.
gym. Big Slank. I'll be at the gym or at home. But I know a lot of people like to go hiking and stuff, so they can go to Red Rock and hike around. I'm not very outdoorsy at all. I did enough outdoorsy stuff when I was in the military that I don't want to do that anymore. But yeah, a lot of people like to go hiking and stuff like that, and check out some cool spots to eat.
Red Rock. But first stop is Dragon's Lair to hang out with Seth, right?
Yeah. Hit Dragon's Lair up, get a pic, get swole.
Cool. Dude, appreciate the time. Any final thoughts or anything you want to leave with the listeners? And then why don't you share with us your Instagram?
Yeah, just everybody that's wanting to improve their physique, just keep being consistent and keep trying every day. Train, figure out a plan. You need a coach, find somebody that's going to fit your lifestyle. And what was the last question that you asked? My
Instagram.
Oh, it's just Big Slank, and my TikTok is Big Slank 31.
Very cool, man. I appreciate the time to chop it up with me, Seth. All right.
For sure.
Cool, man. Listeners, thank you so much once again for listening. If you're on YouTube, thank you for watching. Always greatly appreciate you guys coming back and hanging out on Behind the Muscle podcast with us. 2 favors I would ask of all of you. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already on YouTube. That's where I release all these episodes first. And then second, take Seth's episode and share it on all of your social media platforms. Make sure you tag Seth, tag Behind the Muscle, so we know people listen to this episode specifically and you guys found some value in it. And then finally, I will leave you all with this. Remember, behind the muscle, there's always a story. We'll catch you guys later.